Alright, so it is time to get started on my next goal for Camp Nano. I'm going to go through all of the scene analysis I did, and I'm going to map out all the different plot lines, and I'm going to go through and figure out, like, on a plot-by-plot basis, what do I need to cut, what do I need to add, and then I need to go through all of my scenes and kind of re-outline them a little bit to actually have proper, like, mini arcs in them. I read this article recently and watched a couple YouTube videos on how to structure scenes, and something that seems to come up a lot, which seems like it came from maybe screenplays, I'm not sure, but basically the idea of, so you have a goal, but then there's a conflict, this thing happens, and therefore there's something to propel something forward. But yeah, so I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start mapping everything out. I'm hoping to get some like cool graphics out of it to really look at what I have going on visually, but we'll see. And then the other exciting thing is, and let me show you. Do you see that? Do you see that? That's my computer. It has been almost a month since this thing broke. Almost an entire month. That's about where I am. So let's get into it. Okay, so first, let me say sorry for the noise. That is my son's Hot Wheels Ultimate Garage. But it is Sunday. The family that was staying with us over the weekend just left. I did get a little bit of time to sort of get started. On this, and it took me a while to figure out how I wanted to go. I'm just going to be looking at the actual plot lines. So I had all my sort of scene breakdowns from the last goal or part. And so now I'm going through and making a page for each of my plot lines and writing out, you know, which scenes are, I guess, touching on that plot line and then what's happening in each of those scenes so that I can sort of see just the stuff by that plot line. And then I'm going to try and make like a little, like arc diagram with those different major beats and then sort of look at it and figure out what major changes I want to make and kind of do that per plot line. So that's what I'm working on right now. Alright, so it is the 1st of May. Camp Nano is over, and I thought I should give you a status update. I didn't quite get everything done that I wanted to. I had hoped that at the end of this month I would have a revision guide for going through and tackling the revisions for my blood magic project. However, it's ended up being a lot bigger of a task than I thought it was, so like, I think I've gotten the same amount of work I expected to get done. There's just way more work than I was expecting there to be, which, you know, I feel like always happens. I'm really looking forward to getting to make these changes because I think they're going to have a really, really, really big impact, and I'm very excited for that. I do want to, I think, make a separate video just talking about the types of things I want to fix in my book, like the types of plot problems and, you know, arc issues that I've found that I want to fix. I think I'll walk you through the 2 biggest plot lines and how I need to fix those because here's the problem. I have so many plot lines. Like, each of my characters has an external plot, or 2, like major ones, and then each one has an internal one. And then they almost all have at least one friendship arc. So, like, that's like, I think there's like 12 plot lines total. And once you change one of them, it kind of creates this ripple effect to change all of them, which makes things complicated. So I've gone through and I've kind of remapped out, just kind of going from scratch, starting with each of the POV characters and what their internal arc needs to be, and then how their major plot lines tie into that. So this is sort of what I drew out for my main character's main external plot line. But in general, her goal is to save her people, and her internal conflict is basically to figure out who she is and who she needs to be in order to save her people. So it's this identity conflict. And like the beginning of this I thought was good. My break into 2 is a little bit early, my midpoint's a little bit early, and then there's a ton of time here before I get into Act 3. And you can definitely feel that in the pacing of the story. Like, I could definitely feel that. There's 6 scenes in this second half of Act 2, but there's no conflict. There's no strong goals. It's sort of like I am just showing the scenes that would happen, but between what happens at the midpoint and what kind of creates that tumble into the climax, the main character doesn't cause anything to happen. Like, she doesn't have any agency even though she's doing things. Nothing that she does actually has a purposeful impact to the plot. Like, you could remove them and you'd have the same outcome, which is a problem. So the big things I need to change here are the goals are kind of weak here. Like, there isn't this natural progression of her goals and in what's happening in the story. So the goals was a big thing I needed to change. Make it seem like she's actually leading herself somewhere and that it's actually going to matter at all, I guess. And then the second part over here needs more conflict because all of her stuff is really condensed here and in this last little bit. And this is all just stuff that's happening. So I need to turn this into something where there's actually conflict to it. There's actually like wins and losses, setbacks, like it needs to actually have some serious substance. So in this, I kind of have her tying in what her internal conflict is with what she needs to do externally because she's trying to figure out her identity, who she is in relation to her leadership and her people. And I did write some general notes here. So like I have a number of scenes here. I think it's this one and this one that have the exact same purpose. So I'm going to combine those. I need to make it clear where this goal is. I had more debate there. The big thing that happens that she agrees to do because of the prophecy, nothing happens really because of it in this book, and I need to change that and just add more conflict over here in general. So I have a rough idea planned out, but a couple of the specifics I don't have yet, and that's because I need to kind of map out all the plots and the mystery to really figure out what that needs to be. Okay, so my other main plot is the mystery plot, which this is like my second POV's external plot line. There's no catalyst, she just kind of shows up for her mystery. Like, it's already like up here and they're like, okay, you're gonna do this. And she's like, okay. And basically she's like trying to do this thing and she can't figure it out. And then she tries this other thing and just nope. Not figuring anything substantial out or drawing any useful conclusions. Like, she's trying all the things that should be tried, but it's this very linear thing. She's not really discovering any big clues until maybe about here. Then she kind of makes one big discovery here. You know, they figure out this big clue. And then they're like, oh, well, they sort of have a couple wins, and then something happens that kind of makes it fail, and then, like, another thing. And then it's, like, going, and then there's a reveal at the end, I guess. But she doesn't, like, it's not her reveal. Like, she doesn't actually figure it out. She never figures out the mystery on her own, and there's not really enough. I mean, there's hints. Like, you could probably figure it out as the reader, but she doesn't. I was watching Alexa Dunn's video on reverse plotting a thriller, or how to write a thriller backwards, and it kind of went into this, a lot of points that I don't have here. The murder that happened, who that person is, right? So that victim, which dies before the story starts, does not matter. Right? Like, they don't matter. Who they are doesn't really play that big of an effect. There's no secrets that victim has. There's no intrigue based off that. It leads a few of the suspects, but that's literally it. And also the main character's motivation to solve the mystery is weak at best. And then my clue progression is way too linear. I need there to be like tons of little threads and little things going on of they have this sort of mystery that they're figuring out the whole time, and then they pick up little threads and then drop them and pick them back up, and like it needs to be this proper mystery, and it just needs to be tied together a whole lot better in general. So the things I want to change, I want to tie in her internal conflict, because right now, like, I sort of weakly have this concept of her not wanting to like let others in, but like the exceptions are the people she's working with. So I plan to change this into something where
So maybe at first she wants to do it herself, and then maybe she lets others help, but doesn't trust them, right? Because she's not really letting them in. She just sort of is on the surface. And that's going to keep causing problems. And then at the end, when she's actually finally goes through the climax and is going to actually figure it out and have this big reveal moment, is when she actually gives in into relying on others and letting them help. So I want to have this stronger progression that I think will really tie in everything just in a lot stronger way and make it a lot more engaging, and like there'll be actual emotion involved in, like, you know, what's happening. So that's going to be a big change. And then I'm going to combine two characters, two side characters. They both currently have basically the exact same purpose to the plot. And also I'm changing the victim into someone that will matter, and I'm going to tie them into something that would connect with my main character, to kind of pull these character threads together a little bit more, have some more interlap. And then the other plot lines that are going to change are relatively minor compared to these, where obviously it's going to be like the domino effect. When one big thing like this changes, a lot of other things are going to need to change too. So I don't know, I'm still learning, I'm still figuring out what I want to do, I'm still learning. Like, I'm not at the point where I'm ready to publish or reach out to an agent. I think that I'm getting there, and I'm hoping, you know, I'm still hoping by the end of the year that I'm ready to start querying. But I have to rework this whole outline and rewrite the book. And I'm not going to be ready to query if I haven't gone past developmental edits. Like, I need to line edit. I need to do copy editing, at least on my own. Like, I have a lot of work I need to do, and as much as it pushes me back on my goals, like, the important thing here, the most important thing to me is that I want to have a career as a writer. And I'm not going to be able to have a career as a writer until I have the skills to have a career as a writer. So I need to take whatever time it's going to take for me to get the skills to be able to do that. And I need to do a lot of learning, and I need to keep working on that and keep reading craft books and keep plotting books and learning and doing new things so that I figure out different ways to do it, and then going back and applying that to, you know, previous books that maybe weren't up to those standards, and meeting other people in the community and building relationships and learning from them and having this mutual, like, support network. Like, it's great. And that's what I need to be doing right now. And maybe I'll be ready to query at the end of the year, and maybe I won't. And that's okay. So I think Camp Nano was really good for me, and I think I accomplished a lot and learned a lot, and I don't know, it's been a hell of a month. But yeah, look forward to my videos on all the other little plot stuff that I'm going to change coming out in the next week or two. I don't think May is going to be my busiest month, but next weekend's Mother's Day weekend, so I'm probably going to get a lot done then. But other than that, I'm busy, so we'll see. I've gotten a lot done this month. I'm really happy about it. You know, if you have been successful or unsuccessful, I'd love to know what you did accomplish, because that's really what we should be focusing on here. Because, like, things come up, things aren't exactly how you expect. Like, you can't say, I want to get this done, it's exactly this amount of work, because there's no way of knowing for sure, right? Things like that change. And I mean, I know I had a lot going on this month. My kids were sick the entire first half. We had company basically the entire second half. As you can tell, I've started renovating my future, like, craft studio room. So that's been a process, but it's just sort of been doing what I gotta do in the time, and yeah, we should be happy of what we've accomplished. I'll see you next time.